The officiating in the WNBA, I kind of already went off on it, but it's just atrocious. Really, really bad. Like, there have got to be rules to present overt physicality from dominating the game. And that's what we've got. We've got it in the NBA, we've got it in the WNBA. Nobody wants to call a bunch of fouls, but these officials don't know what a foul is and a foul isn't. They can't even tell when a ball goes out of bounds. Like, you've got 2 million plus people watching some of these games. You have got to have a correctly officiated product, or at least confidently officiated product, and competently officiated product.
The hush arrived the instant Sophie Cunningham slammed onto the hardwood. A single gasp rolled across Climate Pledge Arena like distant thunder, followed by an eerie pause in which every spectator, courtside diehard and upper deck newcomer alike, searched for a whistle that never came. Instead, overhead screens replayed the collision in agonizing slow motion, Sophie's ponytail snapping forward, her shoulders biting into the paint, her palms splaying wide as the ball skittered away. On the Fever bench, Caitlin Clark shot to her feet. The superstar who had spent 2 weeks muttering encouragement from behind a towel suddenly erupted, raw frustration cracking her voice. "You were right in front of her." 9 words, sharp as broken glass, ricocheted off concrete and into living rooms from Anchorage to Miami. Viewers froze. Referees averted their eyes. What should have been another summer matchup instantly morphed into a referendum on everything ailing the WNBA.
It's been a lot of ups and downs in the WNBA this season. To take care of business in a winning streak like this, what does that sort of say about how this team's coming together?
Yeah, Seattle's a great team, great team, and it's hard to play here. And so we knew that. We knew that they just came off kind of a bad loss against LA. And so they were hungry for a win. But for us, it's not about other teams. It's about our standard. It's about stacking the days. And I think that where our mental's at as a team and as individuals, we're in a really good spot. And, it's not going to be easy moving forward. But I think today we stayed true to the scout. We trusted the offense. Kelsey has been having a hell of a season. She was a little bit off, but she facilitated for us offensively down the stretch. And it just shows that everyone has something to give, even if your scoring's not going to be there. But I don't know, I'm just proud of our team, and I'm proud that we stacked today.
The chain reaction, ignited by that single swallowed whistle, would travel far beyond one arena, one night, or even one season. Picture the scene with a fresh coat of context. Indiana and Seattle had traded elbows and jumpers all night, neither side leading by more than 6. In the third quarter's waning minutes, the Fever clung to a 5-point cushion. Sophie Cunningham, fighting inside position against 2 taller forwards, ripped down a defensive rebound as if rescuing a priceless heirloom. In that instant, Storm reserve Michaela Rufus charged from behind, wrapped an arm around Sophie's ribcage, and hurled her sideways. The impact echoed, sneakers squeaked, and bodies scattered. The official, close enough to identify the brand of lotion on Sophie's forearm, stared blankly before backpedaling toward midcourt. No raised fist, no tweet of corrective authority, just silence. Gabby Williams secured.
We have updates, and our recovery's going well. It's just, I think for us, staying the course and making sure that we're really diligent about each step that we take, and that we don't have setbacks, and that we're patient with it. I know she wants to be out here on the floor, and we want her out here on the floor, but making sure that she's ready is the most important thing. I still don't know how far we are. We're going to take it one step at a time, one day at a time. And
the loose ball, tossed ahead to Skylar Diggins, and Seattle pushed in transition while the fallen Fever forward scrambled upright. On the broadcast feed, the color commentator sputtered halfway through a sentence, then defaulted to the only available word, wow. Social media responded faster than teenage thumbs can type. Within 30 seconds, a clip of the body slam racked up 20,000.
It's going to be a jump. Now here it looked like a jump. There, this looks like a foul to me.
Yeah.
Indiana. And you can see Caitlin saying you were right in front of her.
Caitlin Clark absolutely snapped on the officials after witnessing Sophie Cunningham. Sophie had just snagged a defensive rebound and was calmly securing the ball when a Storm player chucked her to the ground, like they were lining up for Sunday Night Football. The ref was standing right there, front row seat and all, just watching like he was at a backyard barbecue instead of, refereeing a professional basketball game.
And loops on reels, each one captioned with escalating disbelief. WNBA or WWE? Asked one. Ref with courtside seats to the crime, quipped another. Even casual fans sensed the line had been crossed. Something about player safety, competitive integrity, and plain common sense had been sacrificed under the glare of professional sports lighting. But the clip didn't reach escape velocity until it found Clark's face. Television zoomed in to catch her eyes, two twin storms swirling behind a towel draped over her lap. By the time producers replayed her balked rebuke in crystal-clear audio, trending lists filled with her quote, "Algorithms love outrage, and this outrage had a name, a jersey, and a multi-million-dollar endorsement portfolio." The immediate fallout inside the building was pure adrenaline. Fever coach Stephanie White spun in a half-circle, palms skyward, demanding justice. Seattle's bench shouted play on, sensing momentum. Sophie, now back on her feet, mouthed an incredulous seriously as she flexed a shoulder and staggered down court. The scoreboard froze mid-update, but hearts did not. A collective realization set in. If that collision didn't qualify for a foul, then nothing was sacred. Everything was permitted. Clark's 9-word outburst detonated because
I'm not saying that your job is easy, but when it is a simple call right in front of your face, cool. But let me do it to you.
Didn't let you, yeah.
You know what I mean?
You want
Like,
consistency then.
yeah, like just give. And I think that's players across the league and like new fans across the country. Like everyone's like, what is going on with the refs? And I'm like, I don't know. What are you doing?
What call are you like bugged out?
All of them.
Most? Everything.
Like it's just like they're just so inconsistent.
been laid for months. If a 6'5" all-star leaves with stitches and 0 free throws, explain the rule book to me, she challenged. Weeks later, Kelsey Plum appeared at the podium dotted with fresh claw marks. She flipped her phone toward reporters and scrolled through screenshots. Arms raked, jerseys tugged, 0 whistles. Pick one, she dared. Fan frustration mushroomed into grassroots detective work. Creators stitched compilations of missed calls, gratuitous elbows here, egregious travels there, and uploaded them nightly. The hashtag #FixTheWhistle spent nearly 60 hours perched atop trending lists, wedged between celebrity breakups and political punditry. A vacuum of transparency only invited more speculation. If officials weren't punished publicly, were they punished at all? League offices tried triage. Press statements promised ongoing review, points of emphasis, and continuous improvement. Fines landed, mostly on players who vented frustrations rather than the whistles causing them. Sophie herself once absorbed a $500 slap on the wrist for a TikTok skit poking fun at referees. The message fell backward. Joke about the problem, pay up. Cause the problem, carry on. Enter Clark, the transcendent name that sells tickets in bulk. Her fury reframed officiating incompetence from a niche grievance to headline news. If the WNBA's most valuable draw deemed the system broken, ignoring her became impossible. Major sports networks that rarely touched women's basketball suddenly debated officiating standards in prime time. One anchor leaned across a sleek desk and asked, would the NBA ever allow Nikola Jokic to be ragdoll slammed with no whistle? The rhetorical answer hung heavy. Absolutely not. The crisis had outgrown basketball.
I'm really proud of you guys. There were so many ways in a close game and in game situation where we grew today that were huge for us, y'all. That will pay dividends. So great job. I'm proud of you guys. Everybody contributed. Everybody came in and gave us a lift. Kels, I know it was a tough shooting day, but the way you facilitated and that one big jumper that you made. Right? We dug in and got stops when we needed to. I mean, big time win, y'all. Big time win.
Sponsorship executives whispered about brand safety. Streaming partners raised red flags over live betting integrity. Even casual observers, previously impressed by record attendance, murmured uneasily about fairness. A league chasing mainstream respect found itself one bad call away from public relations free fall. And Clark's roar served as the thunderclap heralding the storm. While Clark defended from the bench, Sophie Cunningham seized center stage. Her persona, equal parts exuberant and unflinching, began years ago at Missouri, where she once dove over a scorer's table to save a possession. Sipped water mid-dive from an abandoned cup, then fired a no-look assist. That anecdote resurfaced on fan pages this summer, reintroducing the broader audience to Sophie's kinetic charisma. The so-called blonde bomber's numbers tell only half the tale. 17 points on 5 shots from the floor feels efficient, but context elevates it to heroic. Indiana sank 4 3-pointers all night, and Sophie drilled each one. Each splash extinguished a budding Storm rally. Each backpedal featured a subtle finger twitch invitation for the crowd to get louder. She does not
shows the
struggle.
growth that we've had as a team, because early in the season we were just so inconsistent, and if teams were to do that, we would normally lose those games. But it just shows that we're getting closer, we're trusting each other, and we're just, I think that's the biggest part, is trusting and knowing that we can win those games even if they go on runs.
But she radiates, hair bobbing like a metronome for chaos, yet popularity invites scrutiny. Opposing benches treat Sophie like a litmus test. How physical can we get before the refs object? Seattle's experiment ended in nationwide outrage. Last month, Connecticut's test ended in that viral brawl, which ironically sparked Sophie's social media surge. Crossing 800,000 new followers in a 7-day Indiana's 12-point cushion felt deceptively comfortable, like sipping cocoa on a cracked iceberg. The Fever entered the final frame ahead 66-54, and for 2 possessions, rhythm reigned. But basketball games wobble on thin backboard glass. Seattle's Jewel Lloyd drilled a quick pull-up, followed by a Skylar Diggins steal and score. Then came a careless Fever turnover, a blown switch, and another Storm triple. The scoreboard blinked, 66-63. 17,000 fans inhaled as one. Kelsey Mitchell, usually a walk-in microwave, turned...
Boy, they almost blew it. Nonsensical whistles to stop runs, or how about blowing a whistle to stop the other team's run? Coming out in the second half, I will never back off of this. When you come out in the second half and you start losing leads, that is a coaching issue. I don't care what sport you're in. All right? Because what that tells you is the opposing coach went into the second in the halftime, made adjustments. The other team comes out and they start figuring it out. Well, it's up to your coach. It's up to your coach to make adjustments against that adjustment.
Kelsey Mitchell could not get it going today. And I told y'all, she is a roller coaster. You got to remember, she went off versus the Sky. Then she was, 8 for 24. Then she had a good game. Then she was down again. Then last game she was up. This game she's down again at 3 of 16. This is Kelsey Mitchell. She's a roller coaster. She's a roller coaster. She gave you 9 points on 3 of 16, shooting 0 of 8.
Freezer cold. 3 of 16 from the field, 0 of 8 beyond the arc. Numbers that read like typos. Confidence is a fragile alloy, and each clang off iron corroded her poise. Commentators noted her shoulders slumping, her release growing rushed. Seattle's bench smelled blood, shouting "Lever" on every closeout. Enter Aaliyah Boston, 6'5" of polished footwork and postgraduate footwork tutorials. The reigning Rookie of the Year commanded a deliberate bounce, pivoted off her anchor leg, and finished through 2 bodies. Next possession, she feigned a dribble handoff, spun baseline, and banked the right-hand scoop. 30 seconds later, she swatted a layup so forcefully that photographers ducked. Her 9-point personal run slapped a tourniquet on the Fever's hemorrhaging lead. Natasha Howard functioned as invisible glue. She chased loose balls into row 2, boxed out centers outweighing her by 20 pounds, whispered reminders during free throws. Eyes up, space the floor, next play. Scoreboards rarely spotlight such subtleties, yet coaches obsess over them. Veteran composure in a sea of frenetic limbs often draws the boundary between collapse and composure. When the final horn sounded, Indiana had survived 78-74. Nobody celebrated like they had conquered Everest. They exhaled like sailors who found shore during a lightning storm, grateful, exhausted, fully aware they'd tempt fate again soon. One arena's chaos rarely stays local in the digital epoch. Clips of Sophie's slam migrated across.
AB's been huge for us. She's really been the key. She came into this league predominantly playing on the low block, getting a lot of post touches when she was in college and her rookie year. And then, last year, her first year with Caitlin, playing a lot in the 2-man. And then this year, we're asking her to be a facilitator as well. A hub for us on the offensive end of the floor while being more versatile on the defensive end than she probably has ever been. And she's just continued to step up to the challenge and grow and be better. She's really the rock of our team.
Sophie the blonde bomber. Sophie the Trophy lit it up again tonight. Man, she has been nothing short of spectacular as of late. 5 of 6 from the floor, 4 of 5 from 3, 3 for 4 from the free throw line, 17 points, 2 assists, 5 rebounds. Sophie, the blonde bomber, has been on fire. Sophie stepped it up in a big time way. That is what you need. When your best player is out, you need the ancillary pieces to step up and deliver. And that is what Sophie Cunningham has been.
Cross platforms, accumulating millions of views by dawn. Analysts dissected slow motion while overlaying rulebook text. Former NBA officials chimed in, rating the missed call a clear flagrant on podcast after podcast. Even casual sports talk shows broke their usual diet of football camp updates to weigh in. Behind marketing slogans, league executives huddled. Sponsorship partners raised uncomfortable queries. If our logo sits courtside while players hit the deck with no penalty, does that align with brand values? Streaming platforms flagged potential betting irregularities. After all, wagering thrives on perceived fairness. Once that trust cracks, handle dollars evaporate. Players' union representatives sensed leverage. They circulated proposals, year-round officiating contracts, off-season certification labs, transparent grading systems posted weekly. In private, several owners balked at the price tag. In public, they nodded along with polished statements about exploring all avenues. The gulf between lip service and legislative action widened nightly. Conspiracy murmurs gained volume, with the league letting physicality slide to appear tougher and appeal to viewers raised on highlight reel dunks. Or more sinister, were certain stars protected while others served as sparring targets? Each ambiguous whistle added oxygen to speculation. Without a swift corrective, rumor threatened to metastasize into accepted narrative, poison to any sport hoping to scale. Caitlin Clark's groin strain, diagnosed as minor in early July, has lingered like a stubborn papa bad. Team doctors adopted a conservative approach. Core stabilization exercises, controlled lateral cuts, progressive shooting drills. Twice, she completed warm-ups wearing full-game uniform, fueling hashtag Clockwatch posts from beat reporters. Yet minutes before introductions, staff tapped her on the shoulder, shook heads, and steered her toward street clothes. Fans, hungry for clarity, floated theories. One posited that medical staff feared compensatory.
The Fever did everything possible to blow a game, but still come out with the win. That was a near epic level collapse, folks. Wow, it should have never gotten that close. Lexi Hall, Stephanie White waited till the very last minute to put Hall in on defense. She should have been in there from 2 minutes in. 2.5 minutes in on defense. They could not seem to get a big rebound to save their life, and this almost turned into a disaster.
The Indiana Fever nearly blow a 12-point fourth quarter lead. We allow the Seattle Storm to go on an 11-0 run in the fourth quarter. Stephanie White, I keep telling y'all, I don't trust her. I'm sorry. We give up a 11-0 run within the last 4 minutes to let this team cut the lead down to.
And I got scratches on my face, I got scratches on my body, and these guards on the other team get these ticky-tack fouls, and I'm sick of it. I get fouled like that every possession. Ricky gets fouled like that in the post all the time, and they don't call it, and I don't know what else to do. Like, it's really frustrating though. I'm like, I feel, I mean, there's multiple shots at the end of the game, either go into the third, into the fourth, where they're just coming and swinging, and they just don't.
Injuries that derail promising careers. Another believed the league quietly urged caution, unwilling to risk its marquee magnet returning at half speed, only to aggravate the strain. A more speculative corner wondered whether shoe sponsors preferred a dramatic comeback on a Sunday night national broadcast. Reality likely sits somewhere mundane. Soft tissue healing on its own schedule, but the vacuum breeds intrigue. Each game missed complicates playoff calculus. Indiana's win percentage without Clark sits just above 53. Impressive, yet volatile. A single losing skid could drop them from hosting a playoff series to missing the bracket. Conversely, rushing her back to face double teams at less than full health risks a postseason without her at all. Clark herself projects stoic resolve. Cameras catch her charting plays on a clipboard, gesturing at teammates to shift corners, celebrating every Sophie triple with the enthusiasm of a courtside fan. Yet occasionally, the lens lingers on her distant stare, an athlete built for the stage, trapped in the wings while understudies strain under Klieg-light heat. The moment she re-enters Act 1 will break viewership records. The only unknown is whether officials will match the heightened spotlight or wilt beneath it. Standings resemble rush hour dock.
Here's Boston. Boston, good look inside. Howard lays it in. Nobody in the league at 6'4" or taller averages more assists than Aaliyah Boston. Well, you know, what happens off a deflection from a defensive player if it hits the rim? Shot clock still would reset. It doesn't have to be a shot. As Howard somehow spins that in. Players looking like they need a breather.
Yes.
Cunningham lays it in, going backdoor on Diggins. Well, you know, what happens off a deflection from a defensive player if it hits the rim? Shot clock still would reset. It doesn't have to be a shot. As Howard somehow spins that in.
That's a PNW win! W's in the chat.
W's in the chat.
Traffic, gridlocked yet somehow inching forward. Indiana holds fifth at 17 wins, Seattle trails by 1, Las Vegas lurks with identical losses, but notoriously soft schedule ahead. Aces veteran Chelsea Gray, back from ankle rehab, just declared, "We're about to remind everyone who started super teams." Translation, hold on to your seating. Tiebreakers hinge on arcane criteria. First comes head-to-head record, then conference wins. Then point differential. A single blowout can become golden currency in late September. Coaches now jostle between resting starters and chasing margin. When Indiana faces the Aces next week, a three-pointer at the buzzer could matter months later, whether the net swishes or the horn sounds with the ball in flight. Seattle's locker room wrestles with self-inflicted wounds. Their radio broadcast noted that over the last 4 games, the Storm have surrendered an average of 11 unanswered points in fourth quarters. Film sessions feature pause rewind cycles on missed box-outs, hesitated closeouts, and what assistant coach Pokey Chapman bluntly labels brain melts. Meanwhile, Phoenix hired a defensive consultant who once programmed zone schemes for Euro Cup champions. Chicago fired its strength coach, citing soft tissue epidemics. Dallas dangled draft picks for a floor-stretching big. The margin between contender and spectator manifests in micro-decisions, many beyond the players. Control, some, unfortunately, still controlled by inconsistent whistles. The WNBA stands at a fork in the hardwood. On one path, record ratings, packed arenas, a rookie class bursting with charisma, and corporate partners eager to invest in rising women's sports. On the other, the quicksand of credibility erosion, where every viral no-call chips away at trust, where athletes question their safety, and where fans shrug and wander back to familiar pastimes. Solutions aren't hypothetical. The NBA funds a full-time officiating corps with rigorous mid-season performance audits. FIFA publishes referee assignments days in advance to deter tampering rumors. Tennis offers real-time electronic line calling, fully transparent to viewers. Each model costs money, yet each pays dividends in perception and competitive purity. So when Clark finally strides to center court, perhaps as soon as next weekend, the spotlight will beam fiercely. The question is whether the officials' whistles will match the stage. If they do, brace for fireworks worthy of a league on the brink of mainstream stardom. If they do not, well, the roar you heard from Caitlin Clark may prove only the opening note in an anthem of discontent far louder than any referee's whistle.